What is going on, y'all? Faiz Sports Talk back at it with another video talking some NBA, and it is that time of the year, yes, where I give you guys my NBA All-Star Reserves selections, all right? So that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. But before I do, if you're new to the channel, please make sure to subscribe. If you have not done so, I do talk a lot of NBA on this channel. Please hit the bell icon down below so you're notified every time I drop a new video. And guys, follow me on all my social media platforms. Links, as always, down below. So with that being said, you see the whiteboard behind me. Let's get started. All right, here we go. I've got the whiteboard filled out now with a number of names, all right? First and foremost, we've got the starters for the Western Conference and the starters for the Eastern Conference that were already, of course, announced. So we already know these are confirmed, and these are the guys. Quick thoughts on the starters, by the way. So for the West, we've got Nikola Jokic, LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, Luka Doncic, and Steph Curry. No gripes, other than I believe you can make a legitimate argument that Dame Lillard should have started over Luka Doncic. Luka's been great. Numbers look good. But the Mavs have been very underwhelming, very disappointing this season. And Damien Lillard has been carrying the Blazers with CJ McCollum missing a ton of time. So I believe Damien Lillard, and I'm going to go ahead and say it, I think he should have started over Luka Doncic. That's my one issue with the West starters. Everything else looks great. All very deserving. Let's flip over to the East starters real quick. We've got Joel Embiid, Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kyrie Irving, Bradley Beal. Again, I've got one big issue here, which is Kyrie Irving. I don't believe Kyrie Irving has played enough games, or his numbers aren't even that impressive for him to be a starter. It's more of a name thing for Kyrie where he got voted in, as you know. I would have preferred it to be James Harden. And you can make an argument that it could legitimately maybe be Zach LaVine as well, who we'll get into a second. So I have already given you guys a little bit of a hint of a couple of the reserves, all right? Clearly, if I have them actually being starters. So we'll go ahead and start with the West, and then we'll go over to the East, because I believe the East is much more difficult than the Western Conference. So the rules for the reserves are 7 spots, all right? So 7 spots for the reserves. And if there is somebody that's going to miss with injury that we know, obviously I'll give you guys a replacement for that. But let's go through the no-brainers first, all right? Like these guys, like there's no doubt about it. They're locks. If you don't think they are, you shouldn't talk basketball anymore. I'm sorry, all right? So I mentioned, obviously, Damien Lillard. He is a stone-cold lock. So Dame is getting in. So I'm going to number it with 1 through 7. Dame's getting in. He's a lock. Next up on the list, I have Donovan Mitchell here. By the way, this is not in any order. This is random, but I'm going to say the next guy on the list here is Donovan Mitchell. I believe he's a lock as well. Donovan Mitchell has been insane, and more importantly, his team has been ridiculous. The Utah Jazz have been the best team in the Western Conference this season. All right, the season is still obviously very young and not over yet, but they have been the best team by far, and Donovan Mitchell has been a big reason why, probably the biggest reason why, so he absolutely deserves a All-Star Reserve selection. And in that same sentence here, I actually forgot one more guy that I'm going to put here. I don't know how I missed him. His teammate, Rudy Gobert, also deserves a spot. So I'm going to make Rudy Gobert number 3. He's been the defensive anchor for the Jazz all season long. So I got to give Rudy Gobert a spot here as well. Again, I know you might be thinking, Faiz, you're rewarding winning too much. Rudy Gobert's numbers are still very good. All right, he's still very good. One of the top rebounders and shot blockers in the NBA. All right, moving on here, we got Devin Booker and Chris Paul. I'm going to say right now, if I had to pick between these two, I would probably go with Chris Paul getting a spot in the All-Star game because of the fact that the Phoenix Suns have been very good this season, and that's mainly because of Chris Paul. Chris Paul has been the guy that's been the driving force. Don't get me wrong, Devin Booker has been solid. He's been great. He's been a good scorer. That's what he's been. But Chris Paul is really the driving force here. So to me, CP3 deserves a reserve spot. All right, so here we go. Dame, Donovan Mitchell, Chris Paul, Rudy Gobert. And then I've got guys like here like Zion, Ja Morant, Paul George, Anthony Davis, SGA, and Fox. I'm going to go ahead and say Paul George deserves a spot as well. I know he's missed some time with injury, but he was balling before that, and Clippers are one of the top teams. And I am going to give Anthony Davis a spot as well. Some people might not like this, but AD obviously a big part of why the Lakers are the Lakers. And I know he's going to miss a lot of time with injury now. And so I will give a reserve spot away that is not going to go to AD because he's going to miss the All-Star game. All right, but I believe AD is going to get in. So essentially, there's only one spot left because these guys I think are pretty much a shoo-in. In two spots, actually, because, again, I'll give you a replacement for AD. So for deciding between Zion, Ja, SGA, Fox, and here's the reason why I put these guys here, because these guys are the ones that I believe are in consideration for the spot. So if I've missed somebody here, they're really not in consideration. So four guys, or I should say five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys and 2 spots left. And the All-Star game, how I believe it usually goes is they do tend to reward winning, especially with the reserves because the coaches pick these guys. So to me, I do believe Devin Booker is going to get a spot here just because of the fact that the Suns have been good this year. They've been winning. And I do think the last spot, because again, AD misses here, so it's going to be more than 7. I'm going to go with Zion. He's been unreal this year, folks. Has really taken his game to the next level like we expected him to, but seeing it actually happen, it's been great to see. He's been just dominant inside. Nobody can stop the guy in the paint. So there you have it. My reserves for the Western Conference. So Damien Lillard, Donovan Mitchell, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, Zion Williamson, Paul George, Anthony Davis, and Rudy Gobert. So sorry to SGA, Fox, Ja. You guys have been having great seasons, but we got to make some tough cuts here. All right, let's move over to the Eastern Conference. All right, the East is way tougher than the West because you see all the names here that I believe are deserving of a reserve spot. There's a lot here. So let's talk about the absolute stone cold locks. I already mentioned James Harden. Duh. Ridiculous. I mean, should not need an explanation here for why I believe James Harden is an all-star. Zach LaVine, this is a lock to me. I don't even think it's worth talking about. The dude is averaging almost 29 points per game. He's been really the only guy on the Bulls that's been consistent. I mean, they've had a lot of injuries, and they're still pretty much, half a game out of the Eastern Conference 8th spot. So Zach LaVine has taken his game to another level, career highs across the board, not just scoring. He's been ridiculous. I think he is in a lock to be an all-star reserve. All right, moving on down here, Bam, Jimmy, Tatum, Brown. I'm going to say Jaylen Brown's another lock. He's been unreal this year between him and Zach LaVine. I mean, both these guys have taken that next leap. So I'm going to give it to Jaylen Brown here as a lock. And I do believe the next guy I'm going to put here, Julius Randle. I believe he deserves it. The New York Knicks have been a pleasant surprise this season. They're currently in the playoff picture right now. And Julius Randle has been their best player all season long. He is very deserving of it. He's going to be probably a first-time All-Star. And so he's been putting up big numbers, and he deserves it, folks. He's the best player on the Knicks. And, again, you got to reward winning, right? And so that's why I got to go with Randle. And then that's really it for the locks for me, all right? Actually, let me add one more to that. I'm going to say Jason Tatum. The only reason I kind of hesitated on this one is because Tatum missed a ton of time with injury due to COVID protocols and whatnot, so I shouldn't say injury. But you get my point. But again, Jason Tatum's an all-star player when you look at it like that. So I got to, I guess, put Jason Tatum there. Okay, so now 2 spots left. 2 spots left between Bam, Jimmy, Domantas Sabonis, Trae Young, Nikola Vucevic, Jeremy Grant. Shout out to Jeremy Grant. He's been balling out with the Pistons. And Gordon Hayward. To me, Jimmy Butler has missed too many games, even though he's been unreal. And if he does make as a reserve, I wouldn't be shocked. But the Heat have been disappointing. That's why I can't put Jimmy and Bam in. The Heat have been awful this season. Very underwhelming. And that's why I don't think they deserve an all-star. Sabonis. He made it last year, folks. And again, he's not a flashy, sexy player. He's a very, vanilla type of player in terms of he just gives you the numbers right across the board, right? Points, rebounds. But the Pacers are always solid, and Sabonis has been their best player, folks. I think I got to give Sabonis a spot. I'm going to give him a spot here. And then now we got Trae Young, Nikola Vucevic, Jeremy Grant, Gordon Hayward. Well, Hayward's been great, but can you say definitively he's been the Hornets' best player? Maybe it's LaMelo Ball, right? And Terry Rozier's been on a tear, so I can't go Hayward. The Pistons don't win enough for Jeremy Grant. Nikola Vucevic, the Magic haven't been good. So by default, I got to go with Trae Young here. At number 7, he's still averaging about 26, 27 points per game. The Hawks have been a little disappointing, but I think they still have a lot of time to turn it around, and so the numbers look good. So that's what I'm going to go with. So there you have it, folks. My West reserves and my East reserves. So East, Harden, Levine, Tatum, Brown, Randall, Sabonis, and Trae. And I'm going to just highlight first-time All-Stars here that I have for you guys. So Zion Williamson is a first-time All-Star. Zach LaVine would be a first-time All-Star. Okay. Jaylen Brown, I believe, would be a first-time All-Star. Randall as well. And I think that might be it. Yeah, Dame, Mitchell, CP3, PG80. Yep, Gobert, yep. There you go. So that is my picks. Let's see if I'm proven right. Let's see what happens. So, and more importantly, let's see if you guys agree. Did I miss anybody? Did I get somebody wrong? Let me know down in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching.